I'm Suzanne Birch. I am the Executive Director of Birch Community Services, and I've been in this position for about 16, 17 years since my husband retired and I took over the position from him. So Barry and I got married in 1986. We had both had lots of trouble in our lives before that, but we had come to a place where we were committed to God, committed to each other, and committed to being out of debt. So we had said to each other, we'll get married, we will never go into debt after this. And one day, Barry got a call from an old friend of his that he used to work with who said, hey, I'm at Union Gospel Mission and they have some bread that's going to waste. Would you like to pick it up? Could your church do something with that? And we looked at each other and said, well, let's try that. We called the church and the church said, no, that would be too problematic, but if you want to do it, you can do it. We'll support you in doing that. So we started going downtown after that first bag of bread, squished bread, arrived on our front porch. We were pretty excited because we knew families that were struggling, and you met Mary. She was one of them with 6 kids at home and really having a hard time. And we thought, well, if she had some extra bread, then that's bread she wouldn't have to buy at the store, and she could just utilize that.
I was I am still, but an old-time friend of Suzanne Birch's. I don't know how she ever discovered this, but stores were just discarding post or near post-dated breads. So she just kept supplying my household, but then there was more than that, and then she knew other people who could use groceries. So she'd have a box on her porch, and whatever she'd find, she'd put in there, the bread, and usually the breads. So people could just drive by and whoever see, and check out what's in the box. So kind of on a daily basis.
We'd take our little sedans downtown and we'd come back with a whole bunch of bread, and we started getting some extra things with the bread that came along with it. One day we got a call from another organization that said, well, we have cottage cheese. So we picked up cottage cheese. And we thought that was super cool. And we were just bringing it back to our rental house, and people would come over to the house and pick up bread at our front porch. Well, we soon started getting more and more people calling us with donations, and they just knew that we would come. And it was really fun. We got to build relationships with the people at the Blanchet House, and with Union Gospel Mission, and with some other nonprofits in town, Portland Rescue Mission. And we were just helping them while they were helping us, because they couldn't use the product and we could, and we just sort of spread the word. So that was in 1992, and by March of 1993, we had come to a crossroads. We had bread all over our living room, in our basement. We had donated clothing. We could hardly walk through our house without actually running into this stuff. And people were walking in and out of the house all the time, picking up food and telling other people about what they were getting at our house. And so other people started coming. And Barry and I looked at each other and said, what are we going to do? Like, we don't have a home anymore. We have this place where people come. And so we had our devotions that day. We were praying very specifically about what we were going to do. And when we opened our book, we were reading My Utmost for His Highest. And the devotional for that day was Feed My Sheep.
We were a young family. My husband was in seminary working part-time at the mission headquarters, and we had 4 little kids, and it was kind of tough. And so she invited me to the program, and he was such a blessing.
Pretty soon, we were able to find a house that needed some work but had a big garage, And we thought, well, we can do this. We were in our house for 3 years, and they came to that 400 square foot garage. We have people standing in the driveway with boxes on their head when it was raining, just so that they could get into the garage to pick up food. And it was just one of those impossible situations. And we were approached by someone who said, I want to buy a building for you to rent. So that happened. He bought a 2,900 square foot building. We moved into that and thought, cool, we're going to be here for a while. But it was 6 months before we knew that that was not going to work for us. And we started looking around. And by the end of that first year, we had moved into another building with 5,000 square feet. We were there for about 3 years, but we oozed out of that building into the next building, and pretty soon we were taking up about 9,000 square feet, and we just kept growing and growing. So in the year 2000, we moved into this building that we're in right now. We had half of the building, about 11,000 square feet, and we built a tenant improvement area in the middle for an office, and it had a little mezzanine, and we put clothing up on the mezzanine, and we thought, this is the coolest, we have arrived. And so that is, the year 2000, so 22 years ago. And so in these last 22 years, we have spread out into the whole building. We take up 22,000 square feet, and we added racking, and we built a classroom, and we have 700 families that come and shop weekly from BCS, and about 70 agencies that come here. And we're looking at each other and saying, it feels like we're at a crossroads here. What are we going to do? So our leadership team is really working through just the processes of, first of all, being good stewards with the space we have, and then just really praying about where we're going to be one day, whether God wants us to have a bigger building or whether we're supposed to stay here forever. We just don't know.
We had originally wanted to have a big family, and then when we found ourselves in a lot of debt before, we were like, there's no way we can actually afford to have a big family. But then being a part of Birch has not only helped us recenter around finances, but it also helped us recenter around the fact that we actually can sustainably bring another human into this world. And so that's why we have our A-League Gold.
The development over the years is really the fulfillment of our heart's desire from the beginning, which is to show people that they can live on what they make. And we don't have to be swayed by the culture around us that tells us you have to have more and bigger and better.
So it's very much a framework of values-driven decision-making. And that paired with stewardship, we found was a really powerful 1-2 punch to get the long-term momentum and trajectory for families to not just deal with what's in front of them, but think about 10, 20, 30 years and the idea of legacy.
Well, when you walk into the warehouse, it's very, very easy to think of this as a food program, but it's not. It's very deceiving, because in reality we are a financial literacy program, and our goal is to help our families reach their financial goals and become sustainable. So what we have is a culture of people who help each other and have dignity in the process, in giving and receiving.